If it is your plan to move to the United States soon or anytime in the future, then you want to watch this video to the very end. I'll be sharing with you 8 things that I wish I knew before moving to the United States. A quick background about me: my name is Linda Eze. I'm a registered nurse and I currently live in Texas, United States. I moved to United States just over 2 years ago, and everything I'm going to share with you here today, I wish I knew them before I moved to the United States, especially the number 8 on this list. But one is know how to drive. Driving is a huge part of people that live in the United States, especially if you don't live in big cities. It is so important in the United States because most places that you find yourself, if you don't live in cities, you may have to drive to grocery stores, you may have to drive for school run, you may have to drive to go to even the park, as in my case. Even to go to the park, you may have to drive. And this is not just the end. If you are going to be driving in the United States, you need to understand the laws in the state, the driving laws in the state. I know that when you are learning how to drive in the United States, you are going to come across all those different scenarios and all of that. But in experience, you need to understand what happens if the traffic light is not working properly. Yeah, I know some people will not even know that this happens. Like, I never knew that at some point I may come across a traffic light that is not working properly. I didn't know that. I thought, like so many people, you think like everything is perfect, but sometimes things happen, like there is a storm, something like that, and the traffic light stops working or not work properly, and then you need to understand what to do. So here that I live in Texas, if the traffic light is not working properly, what you need to do is that the first person that gets to the junction will have the right of way, essentially. So when you get there, you need to like calculate in your mind, okay, did I get here first? Did this person get here first? Even if you can't calculate it, the best thing to do for your safety is, even if you don't really know whether you are the first person, wait for all the cars to move. Then you now know that you are the person that is there first, and then you can move. Another thing you need to understand is what happens if there's an accident. A lot of people don't pray about accident, and you may not really pay attention what you need to do if there's an accident. You need to teach your children as well if you're moving here with your children. So if anybody hits your car, or you hit anybody, you have any form of accident, what do? You need to call 911. You need to call the police so that they'll get there. They'll be the one to determine who is at fault, who to give a ticket, and all of that. So even if you are at fault, you need to do the right thing, call the police. The first time someone bashed into my car, it was his fault. I've never had accident at all, never experienced that, so I didn't know exactly what to do. Unfortunately, at that point I was blank. I was instead calling friends and calling my husband, and they were not even picking up. It was early in the morning. I was coming back from work, and guess what? I just like told the person, oh, you see what you did to my car and stuff, and then I entered my car and left. In my mind, I was like, when I get home, then I'll call my insurance or something like that. I did take just a little picture of the person's car and the picture of my car, and he too did not call the police because obviously he knows that he was at fault and he knows the law, and maybe he's looking at me as somebody, maybe this person just is new, maybe this person, he was just looking at me to do something, but I did nothing. I just entered my car and left, and he too entered his car and left. And when people heard about it, they were like, what? Somebody bashed your car and you left? Oh my goodness. And in that case, of course, I had to fix my own car. So you need to not just understand, have a driver's license or whatever, but you need to understand that the laws in the state that you're going to, and you need to understand what to do in case of emergency. But 2 is learn the English language. Before I moved here to the United States, English requirement is usually a huge part of so many people that want to recruit. They will tell you, did you write your IELTS or something like that? And so many people, like from my country, because you studied with English and all of that, it is not fun for any employer or any recruiter to tell you that you need to have to write a professional exam to come to the United States. And so many people avoid this. They will try to find states that allow you like to register or do anything without writing the professional exam. So, but outside that, even if you don't write professional English exam to come to the United States, learning how to speak English or how to communicate effectively and also understand the people that already live in the United States is important. It will help you when you're going for interviews for jobs. It will help you in communicating effectively at your place of work, to make friends, to get your opinion and ideas across without, meaning something different. So what I have understood, having lived in the UK for a while and then here in the United States, the English that they speak in the UK and the English they speak in America, they are quite different, and sometimes the accent as well and how they use certain phrases and words and sentences, they are different. So understanding what they mean, and the one huge thing I've come to experience here in America is that sometimes they have like specific things that they call certain things that if you don't say it that way, it's difficult for them to understand what you're speaking. Learning how they speak, understanding how they speak, and how you can also improve your vocabulary, especially when you're already in the United States, improving your vocabulary, trying to use certain words that are common to them. That way, communication is far easier for you. 3. Know how credit score work. This is very important. Credit score is a big deal in the United States. So having a good credit score and knowing how it works will go a long way in helping you, especially in the long run, for you to be able to buy a home, like access mortgage loans. If you need to buy a car, credit scores are very important for you to get good deals, and in so many other things that you want to access. Having a very good credit score helps you. A good news for this is that if you're coming from another country to the United States, you are in a good place to start doing the right things, paying your bills, paying everything. If you have a credit card, paying it off all the time, every month, and all of that, doing the right things so that you have a good credit score. But if you've been here for a long time, maybe you have like student loan debts and other credit score, credit card debts and all of that, that it might be harder for you to have like a very wonderful credit score and credit history. But if you are coming afresh and you know how it works, you make good decisions, pay back or whatever you are owing, pay back your credit card debts very quickly and all of that. It will help you to have a very good credit history, credit score, and that will help you to access loans for buying a home, loans for buying a car, and all of those good stuff. Number 4, and the one that you may not be expecting, is check reviews for everything. In my experience, these reviews are life-saving. So if you want to rent a home, for instance, rent anything where you're going to live, an apartment, whatever, you need to check the reviews of people that have lived there before. In my experience, even though some of the things that you see on reviews are not 100% true, in my experience, if you see any place that has very negative review, it's most likely that you're going to experience the same thing. So I found reviews in the United States to be very helpful. If you want to visit any professional, a dentist or a doctor or whatever, and you see so many negative reviews, my advice is that look for all those other ones that have better reviews. I know that sometimes maybe some people say this can be manipulated and all that, but from my experience, finding schools for the kids, finding professionals like financial advisors or dentists or whatever, looking for a place to rent, those reviews are very helpful. If you find places to live that have very good reviews, the chances are that those are the experiences that you have. If there are bad reviews, the chances are those are the experiences that you have. So don't take reviews for granted. Definitely check reviews for many things that you are going to be doing in the United States. Your workplace, your doctor, your dentist, the school that your children will be attending. All of those, the reviews here matters a lot. 5 on my list is for people that are coming here to work. Do not neglect the degrees or the skills that you are going to be having from your home country. So if you're still getting ready to move to the United States, the visa sometimes takes a while. So in that time when you're getting ready to move to the United States, do not neglect any other thing you're doing, the experiences you're having back home in your workplace, the education you might get, skills that you might get. Those are very relevant in the United States. Even though you might not be able to like use those education or your skills that you learn directly from your home country, you have a chance to evaluate them, to compare them to the United States. If it is not comparable, you can take top-up education and you make it comparable, or sometimes you'll be surprised that they'll be comparable to the ones that they have in the United States. So for instance, if you're waiting 3 years, 2 years before you come to the United States, getting an additional degree is a good idea. I did, and it's helping me right now. getting any skill at all, certificate, whatever that you know will help you in, you know, give you an edge, give you certain experiences. They are very, very relevant in the United States. Having lived in the UK and here, I see that those things that I know, the skills, the experiences that I have from back home, the certificate that I have, the additional degrees, they are very, very relevant for me right now in the United States. I had to evaluate them though and make it comparable to the United States for me to be able to use it. And especially the experiences that I have back home, the skills that I have back home, when I eventually have the boldness to use it here, they are very, very admirable. People recognize it here in the United States, and that's really cool. So don't waste your years thinking, oh, I don't need this anymore, or they are not going to recognize it, or look down on the skills that you have or the education that you have from back home. When you come to the United States, definitely use them. Definitely find a way to make it comparable. Sixth, and a very important one, is learn the American culture. The United States, they have very rich culture. They have Memorial Day. They also celebrate the religious holidays like the Christmas and stuff. They also have their 4th of July or their Independence Day. They have their Thanksgiving. So when they have any holiday, the good thing is it's good for you to Google what it is like and how it's celebrated, so that if you have friends and you know when you are here, you are making new friends. So if you want to send like cards, greeting cards, you want to give them a call and all of that, if you want, if they have invited you on any of the holidays, you know what to expect. So knowing exactly though these cultures, like even it is also, America is also rich in sports, so you also want to understand like the different sports. If you want to engage in any sports, what it is like, the ones that people really enjoy. Seventh on this list, and a very important one, is know that United States is not just America. United States is a country in North America. That means there are so many other countries that will be calling themselves Americans. Even though when you say I'm going to America, people already understand, or many people know that you are going to the United States. But the good thing is that it's good to know the difference. And the United States has 50 states, and so many of these states are big, and they have different laws. They have different, they might have similar laws, but some of their laws are different. So whatever state that you find yourself, try to learn about that particular state, how big it is, the kind of environment it is, the kind of weather, because as big as it is, you expect that there are some of them that have like extreme, like their weather might be very cold. Some of that are very hot, like where we are in Texas. Sometimes the weather is so hot, hotter than my own country. Like when I tell my people in Nigeria that this place is that their summer, that their temperature is so high that even going outside now is very, like, is hotter than our own temperature, they are surprised, because sometimes you think that the whole of America is cold or something like that. So whatever state that you're going to, research the weather, research what it is like, research specific laws that you know will affect you as an individual, so you will not be surprised. Because even though I know Texas is, they have hot weathers, I didn't know that it can be as hot as what I have experienced. So having a good knowledge of what the whole of America is, what it consists of, the states, and what to expect, that will make a lot of things easier for you. But eighth, and definitely not the least in this list, is knowing what to do in case of emergency. So if there is fire, what do you do? If you get lost, what do you do? If you are depressed, what do you do? If you are in trouble, what do you do? Some people would think that this is not important, but let me give you some examples. When we moved here first, I met a colleague of mine that told me that she is so depressed. She's not answering anybody from back home because nobody understands how hard it is for her right now. So she was having a lot of troubles at work, but she couldn't even talk to anybody back home because everybody is excited that she is in America, she's in the United States. Nobody wants to hear any negative thing. Nobody wants to hear the stress and everything. So she is running away from people calling her from back home, and she is so, like, she needed someone to talk to. So at that time, it's very important. There are sometimes people at work, they offer like free sessions, counseling sessions and all of that. Take advantage of it. I know a lot of people, or Africans for instance, when it's very hard for people to open up to professionals like professional counselors, marriage counselors, all of those stuff when they're having troubles, because that's not really a part of our culture. Usually you resolve some of these things by telling your relative or at home or whatever. But here in the United States, once you come here, is most likely just like this my friend that I talked about. People back home will not really understand what's going on here because it's different. So use professionals when you need to. If you need to call the police, 911, you need to. Another example is a colleague sharing with me that there was a day she was so stressed she forgot that she was cooking, and then she went out with the kids. The first thing that she did when she remembered that she was cooking and she left something burning was to call the police. And in my mind, that rang a bell. I was like, if I'm the one, I will start driving back home immediately. I won't even remember to call the police. But what she did is the perfect thing to do, because when she got home, you can imagine she was living in an apartment, assuming that the house got burnt. She is not only putting herself or her own family in danger, she's also putting the families that are also in the apartment in danger. So when you're confused, when you don't know what to do in case of emergency, whatever that emergency is, please know the right people to call to. Now, calling 911 is very important. Calling crisis line is very important. Calling counselors, calling professionals, they are very important. So all these professionals they have in the United States, please use them. I've used financial advisor here in the United States, very helpful. I've used 911 to call the police. It was very, very helpful. If you need other professionals, like when I was building my credit score, a professional helped us, advised us, followed us up when it comes to credit score. Very, very helpful. So use professionals. Know the professionals to call in case of emergency. And this is like one of the biggest things you need to learn in your first few months, first few days, first few years of staying in America. And if you're still not here in America, I wish you the very best as you plan to come. If you are here newly and you found this very, very helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share with someone that you know just arrived, and let me know what you think about all these things in the comment section. And I wish you all the very best.